from South Seminole Middle School in Castleberry, Florida. Direct from the third floor of building number 3, this is South Seminole News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, I'm too tall for this camera, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special Friday episode of South Seminole News. I'm Mr. Miles alongside Ms. Bays. We wanted to welcome some of our girls in government who just went on a big trip to Tallahassee for 2 days. They had a field trip. A field trip's not 2 days, that's a vacation. I don't know if I can pull that off. Real quick before we start, though, I got a couple of announcements. This is an announcement about the Pet Alliance of Sanford. Ms. Puentes will be collecting donations to give homeless pets in Central Florida some items. So starting on Monday, the news, we will show you the list of items that we'll be collecting. Please see Ms. Puentes and for any questions in room 331. And as a reminder, we didn't announce this on the news today. We're on a different schedule on Monday. We're not doing all classes. You'll start your first class of the day on Monday in second period. You'll be doing 2, 4, 6, and then first period after that. So go to your second period class at the beginning of the day. Okay. What else are we doing? Oh, we're here to talk with you guys about your trip. Ms. Bays, would you like to introduce some of our guests who are here this afternoon?
Yes. So with us, we have Sophia and Azani and Kylie.
And this is 3 of, how many students did you have that went on the trip?
We had about 40 girls go to Tallahassee.
Okay, 40 girls. This was with Girls in Government. You guys have done other events through the school year here. I remember earlier in the year, Girls in Government had like the mayor of Castleberry here, and you had a couple other local government women that were here. And this is like one of your really big events, I'd have to say, going to Tallahassee. As a matter of fact, while we're talking with you guys, we've got some photos we can show you from your trip. If you want, let's see what some of the photos that pop up here. Okay, so we got some photos. If you see anything that you kind of remember from that day, we can talk about that. But real quick, why don't we just go down the line with the girls? Tell me something that really stood out in your mind for those 2 days that was kind of like a big surprise that you weren't expecting that day.
I like the debate for the laws and the bill. I like that a lot. That
Debates,
was really fun.
very good.
I love sitting in one of the justices' personal seat in the Supreme Court.
There may be a picture of you actually in one of those seats coming up here
Oh,
somewhere.
is that
yeah.
me?
Any other surprises? Anything that really stood out in your mind?
I also, like, the whole trip was a surprise, so I also liked the Supreme Court justice, because, like, sad as to where I didn't know I was going to be it.
Did you get to speak to any of them, like ask questions or talk to them at all?
We got to speak to the Chief Justice.
Yes, Chief Justice LaBarga.
Oh, okay, very good. There was
Yes.
like a time for like a Q&A you got to do?
We didn't get to ask questions.
Not a lot. He just told us what like the justices do and like all their seats and what they do and like the steps.
And how he became a justice.
Oh, okay. I also understand the governor was there at one point. He was something to do with the fire department?
Yes, they're
Yes.
doing a tribute and like awards.
Okay, so run me through like you left here. When did you leave here? What day was that?
Tuesday.
After the FSA.
Okay, you had an FSA test. Oh, you had to test that day too. Okay, so you had to test that day and you all hopped on the bus. Tell us what that was like. What was your trip like?
I was excited.
It was a long trip there.
Yeah.
Did you make any stops?
Yeah.
Was it like,
It was
We
like
made
delayed
one
stops.
It was fun.
Yeah. It was.
did you guys stop for lunch that day or did you?
When we were
We had
there,
lunch
we got
before.
lunch.
You were there when you got lunch. I'm seeing some pictures of the groups of you outside the buildings here in some locations. If you see any pictures here that you remember from that day, let us know.
Oh,
That was our
wow.
scavenger
Yeah, that
hunt.
was the scavenger hunt.
Oh,
that
I
we
did hear you guys had a scavenger
Oh
hunt.
yeah, there they are.
Yeah,
And,
that's the justices.
On the shore.
Morgan, Layla.
Tell us about the scavenger hunt. What is it you had to do that day for the scavenger hunt?
We had to answer questions for each.
About like legislative.
Okay.
and executive.
Was the scavenger hunt throughout the building or they just
Yeah.
send you
Throughout
around town?
the-
Oh,
In the
okay.
older Capitol, they had like a bunch of rooms, and
And
it
artifacts.
was a bunch of artifacts and newspapers. And on the scavenger hunt sheet paper, they had a bunch of questions, and they would ask you, and you had to go find it.
Oh, okay. So was this the first time you'd been on this field trip, Ms. Bays? You've done this
Yes,
before?
this is our first Girls in Government year, so it was our first trip to Tallahassee with students. I've been there a couple times before, but this was the most fun out of all of my trips. There you are.
There's your picture. I knew there was a picture of you up there.
It was so fun. Oh, that's in the courtroom, I believe. We
Yes.
were doing a debate on equal rights between men and women.
Was that the mock debate?
It was a
Yeah,
mock
it was a
debate.
mock
We had
debate.
2 mock debates.
If you
I
want,
believe.
Ryan, you can go. We've got some video of the mock debate we can play while we're talking about what it was. There you go.
Video
This
of
was
it,
some of the video. We
okay.
won't hear the audio from it, but tell us a little about what we're seeing here.
It was.
It
they
was about,
Oh, this
traffic
was
stop.
It was
in
a
the
traffic
Supreme
stop.
Court. Yeah.
Yeah.
in the Supreme
A traffic
Court.
stop. Was it like a scenario they gave you?
He
Of a
was
cer-
speeding.
Yeah,
He was
Like a
speeding, and then it
the-
led on more and more.
Okay,
More,
so
more,
he was
more.
speeding. Take me through this. Okay, he was speeding, and then he stopped, or he not
The-
stopped right
um,
away? or-
Stopped.
The police pulled him over.
Okay.
And
And then
he like
He
brought
out a
another-
dog
Yeah.
because a canine dog because he thought something was suspicious, but he was not technically obeying the Fourth Amendment.
it was the
Oh,
fourth
so
one.
he brought out the dog at a time he maybe shouldn't
Yes.
have brought out the dog?
Yeah.
But-
There's a certain, I don't remember what it was, but he has to have just
A-
cause
a
to bring the
warrant
dog
or
out? Okay,
a
okay, warrant.
cause.
Okay, so he brought out the dog, and then
And then-
what happened?
He thought that he had lost his Fourth Amendment, I believe.
Okay, his Fourth Amendment
So
right.
then they went to court, and then they just worked it out, really, and then that's what we were debating about, if they broke his Fourth Amendment
I
right.
see, I see. Was the dog there to testify?
No,
No
sadly.
testifying with the dog, okay. All right, and so I'm looking at the video, yeah, let me know, what are we seeing there?
We had a timekeeper, which is Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, yeah.
Mackenzie.
And then
She's been in the
and then we had
chair.
the 7 justices, and they needed 7 because one needs to even out the vote. That's why we learned that.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
So was this, tell me between the first day and the second day, what was it you did the first day? Like, what was the big
we just
event?
The
got
bus
food.
ride.
We
The
did.
bus ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it does take a while. How long was the bus ride?
Like
4
5
hours.
It felt like 6 hours.
It was 4
Hours?
hours on the way up, yeah.
And
Did you
then-
get one of those buses that had TVs or anything?
Well,
We
we did
did,
have
but-
TVs, but they didn't turn them on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's worse than having no TVs. It's not putting anything up. So that's a long trip. I didn't realize it was that long. So you guys, what did you do for dinner that first night?
Blaze pizza or smash burger.
Yeah.
I got smash burger. It was
Blaze
good.
pizza,
Blaze
they give you like
pizza.
a whole pizza.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Per person?
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow,
it was like a
geez.
It was
box.
like 6 pieces per pizza.
And
Well,
then-
per fan, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
yeah.
get the chance to walk around town? They give you the opportunity to like walk around in the city at all?
When
On the
we were
first
going to the
night,
building.
we
were
got there a
really,
little
really
late.
Yeah,
tired.
you had been testing all day and then you had to drive. It was a long
It was
day,
bedtime.
right? Yeah, it was bedtime. That's
We
good.
had a really nice hotel.
I was gonna
too.
say, where did you stay?
It was a DoubleTree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DoubleTree, and it was really nice.
Oh,
it was
very
like
good.
chandeliers. They had
Yeah.
snacks in there. Most
Nice.
importantly,
Bathroom.
it was great. We
beautiful.
took good.
Actually, the
was
reason the
good.
3 of you are here is because we found out that the 3 of you had snuck out that night and we're here to ask you questions about that. I'm just kidding.
Live on
She
camera.
froze. She froze. Did you see that? She's like, oh no. So that's good. You enjoyed the DoubleTree. That was nice. You woke up the next morning. What did you guys have
Oh,
for
we had
breakfast?
to
We had
wake up so
Starbucks.
early.
Yeah.
They gave us blueberry muffins or 2 granola bars, and then you could get a cookie and the water. And we had us
We had all
up
of
early in the morning. I had to do my hair.
The government does not wait. The government is up early and they wanted to get you guys
It was
there.
so cold.
Very
So
so
did you,
cold.
did you walk at all or did
Yeah,
you take
we
buses?
walked to the buildings.
We walked.
But luckily they were like right next to each other, so
Yeah.
you would walk out the old Capitol building and the new Capitol building would be like a,
Right behind
And that's
it.
where
Yeah.
they had the big debate.
Oh, okay.
The new one.
And was there anything going on, like, I thought I saw pictures, like, at the front courtroom steps, you got to take pictures there as
Yeah.
well? Okay. Did you, like, get to walk up the steps and go through the main doors and then?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then we
Did
had
they
to
give you
sit
any
down
kind
at
of-
the steps.
Oh, what?
There was outside steps, and then we walked through
Oh,
the door,
and
and then
then
there's
there's the
inside
inside
steps
steps.
because
Yeah.
there
Okay.
were rules in there because it was
Oh,
it's
geez.
very monumental.
And then when you first came through the doors, was there a tour for you or you get to kind of walk around on your
We
own?
had to
Yeah.
look like
We-
the metal detector.
the staff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The staff showed us where all the rooms were, like she told us where the rooms were, and then that's when we did our scavenger hunt to find.
And then we had teachers like Miss Pearson and Miss Mitchell and stuff.
Mhm.
They had groups, and we just walked around with them, and they kept us on track.
How long did the scavenger hunt take?
It was
I think
about
it's like 20 minutes on each floor.
I think it was really about an hour
Yeah.
when
Wow,
we were done
okay.
with it.
It's a pretty big building, so you had plenty of different places to go. What kind of things were they giving you on the scavenger hunt?
they were giving us like, I remember one that was about the tax poll.
The poll taxes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how they stopped it and
Yeah.
how far it went. There's also another court case, I think, in the
Like an actual
had
one
a-
was going on?
not
Oh,
in there.
oh, okay.
It was like a written one.
They had Gideon versus Wainwright in one room. They had Bush versus Gore in another room. We saw some artifacts from there. They
Yeah.
had like
Yeah.
T-shirts,
Oh, yeah.
right?
They also
yeah, they
had
had a gift shop.
from the old building when they were remodeling it, the glass dome at the
Yeah.
top. They had the
So
artifacts
pretty.
of those. in the
So they're
walls.
still using the old building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
There's
For
also
a museum
now.
For
Yeah,
museum,
it's a
okay,
museum.
gotcha.
Also, a fun fact, they kept stuff that they didn't use, so they could use it back, like, in the future. They kept it in the walls, and that's where they got
Yeah.
the
In
glass
walls.
So they have this
Yeah.
beautiful stained glass dome at
Okay.
the top of the building, and they have remodeled the old historic Capitol building multiple times.
Mhm.
So they didn't have a photograph of the
Oh,
stained
original,
glass, and they
okay.
didn't know colors because it was in black and white.
Sure.
If they could have taken a photograph,
Sure.
and they were trying to find the blueprint to the original building, and they were digging through the walls. We learned that they used to hide the blueprints behind the wall.
Sure, that makes sense.
So,
Okay.
right, easy to find, not. So while they were looking for this blueprint, they stumbled across these shards of glass, and they realized those were
Those
the
were the
original pieces.
Extra pieces from
So
the,
they like
gosh.
pieced it all together and found out what it looked like, and then made a new version.
Do
And
you
it was
know
beautiful.
how old were the blueprints? Do you know?
They're like 16.
Do you remember when the building was built?
It was
Oh,
like
oh, it was
1920.
1902.
1920.
The
Oh, so it was
original
almost 100
was
years?
the original one was
It was
1846,
1860.
Yeah.
64.
Okay.
And then,
I
and then
thought.
they kept remodeling it.
Something
This
like
will
that.
be on the
46,
test.
64. Yeah, we'll test you. I'll look
Okay.
it up again.
Yeah.
We'll test you.
Wow.
They kept remodeling it and like
Yeah.
making, because that's how the new building got there. They
Yeah.
kept remodeling it.
They kept remodeling the old building and then they just forget it. We're just going to build a new building. The
Yes,
old one's
we-
going to be a museum now?
Yeah.
Okay,
They
I
showed us,
see, I
like,
see.
Every blueprint from each year,
It was really
they like
cool.
added on and
And
stuff.
then they had
Okay.
to use news, like photographs from family members that worked in other
Mhm. In the building.
places in the building. So
Okay.
then they used them.
So at the end of the first day, you were finished up and then what did you do for dinner that night?
Same places.
Same places.
You can either
No,
get
it's okay.
one place or the other, but it was still good. Like they
Yeah.
chose good places.
And then you had to
Yeah.
get up again the next morning. Was it another early morning?
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Starbucks. Starbucks.
Did anybody sleep that night or was it
No.
just kind of?
It was
a
like a
crazy
free for all.
night. We got back really
They
late.
told us
Yeah.
to go to sleep, but like some of us couldn't go to sleep, so they were like, "Be quiet," at least, so we can't hear you from all the way down
I
the
thought
hall.
the window on
It's
the
all
bus
right.
was open, cause like you could hear the wind coming in.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't.
So your second day there, was that just a travel day or you did other things on the second day?
It was
So the first day up was the travel day. The
Yeah.
second day was when we did all the
Okay,
exploring and
okay,
everything,
all
and we
right.
just came back late at night on the
Yeah.
second day.
So what were some of the things you got to hear the governor speak?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what was it? Now he had spoken, and it had something to do with firefighters, and there was somebody like a Lake Mary firefighter woman that was there.
She talked to us after we watched the ceremony, and she said things about how she was a little woman and she was in training.
and like no one
Um,
could believe in her or something, but she believed in herself, and that's how she got to where she is now.
And she's
Yeah.
she works at a Lake Mary fire station?
Yeah.
Was that set up ahead of time, or she just happened to be there and you
She
guys?
She just
Was
I think
there.
she was
I
there.
was
Wow,
surprised
that's
that she worked
cool.
in Lake Mary.
So you guys talked with her for a little while?
yeah.
Yeah.
She just happened to be at the event that the governor was there for? I see,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that was your second day. Was there anything big you did at the end before you hopped back on the bus and headed back?
We took
Eight.
a lot of photos.
We
Yeah,
took
I
a
saw,
lot
we had
of
like over 4
photos.
minutes of photos and I barely scratched
We went
the
to
surface
a-
of one of your Facebook pages. I took them all from. I don't remember where they were from.
I had a whole photo shoot.
You had a
I
whole
took
photo shoot?
her pictures because I got a new phone.
And you got some good
Yeah.
pictures of her behind the desk. Were you behind somebody's desk or were you at like a judge's?
It was like
Yeah.
It was like just for pictures, and then
Mhm.
in the old
old Capitol.
in the old Capitol, and it was just for pictures.
So what were some of the takeaways from the trip? Like what are the things that kind of will stick with you that you'll remember?
Supreme Court.
The
Yeah,
Supreme
the
Court
Supreme
is so
Court.
nice, and it's like safe too, so I
Oh
liked
yeah,
it.
where I slapped like the police's hand out of nowhere.
You
literally.
what these hands?
I just like said high five.
Oh, okay. You gotta word that better. You're gonna have to bring the South Seminole lawyers in. They say you slap the cop or something. Okay. Did you high five a police officer?
Mhm.
Okay.
Out
Was
of
he
nowhere.
inside the courtroom or was he inside the?
He was in the new Capitol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for like security purposes.
Okay, gotcha. Got you. Slapped a
Um,
cop. Okay. Gotcha. Anything else? What are something that you
And
remember
then
from
there
that
was
day?
a lot of
I-
security too.
A lot of
There was
security,
a
sure,
lot of
absolutely. There's
security.
tour groups coming through, and yeah.
I remember the Supreme Court and how I was the justice for the mock trial, But I also remember about the hotel was their hallways. They were so like pretty, but they were also kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
remind me of the haunted
Well, we just
mansion.
lost our DoubleTree sponsor.
I know.
Okay.
Bye, DoubleTree.
That's cool. So, what, you have anything else lined up for Girls in Government for the rest of this school year? Any kind of big events coming up or anything?
So we do.
What?
Yes.
What? We do have one more event. We are going to be going to City Hall to see our local government in action.
Good. Perhaps
that
we'll
will be
see,
fun.
I've been
Mayor
there.
Buddy Dyer there. And yeah, wait, you mean the one in Orlando, right? Not Castleberry.
Seminole.
Oh, okay.
Or Castleberry, yes.
Okay. The Castleberry mayor. She's actually been here before. I've seen. She's been here
Yeah.
twice that I know.
She's so
Some of you may
neat.
have met her when you did like a roundtable discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of who else was there that day. I shot video of it. Can you go to the video, Ryan? I'm just kidding.
Put him on the spot.
But there's video the day that Girls in Government had the mayor of Castleberry was here, and other speakers were here that day, and some from Seminole County, just the public school system were there that
We
day
had some
too.
school board members, League of Women Voters.
Yes,
were there.
that's what it was. The League of Women
Yes.
Voters were there. They spoke on camera about you guys, and you guys asked wonderful questions. And I remember the mayor of Castleberry was like, they're asking some very poignant questions, like put her on the spot with some things. So yeah, okay. So you have another event coming up. You're going to go to the City Hall here in Castleberry. That's good.
That we
Is that going to be
didn't
just like
know
a?
about.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know about this.
You have like that'll be just another field trip you'll have.
Yes.
You're just taking a school bus to that one. So. We're not getting a fancy bus to that one. It's right down the street. We're not doing that. That's good. Anything else you want to bring up from your trip? Anything that stood out in your mind?
They named a lot of good things. I was just so impressed with all of the girls' knowledge. When we were leaving the Supreme Court, the lady that was leading the program spoke to us 2 separate times to tell us that you girls were one of the best student groups that have ever come through the court for her,
Excellent.
and that she couldn't believe how knowledgeable all of you were and how you answered all those questions so well. So just the knowledge that you gained from this and seeing you girls put it together. You knew it in your head, now you saw it in real life, and just that moment is what I'll never forget.
You guys came prepared. That's good. That's very good to know. It's good to hear good feedback like that.
Very impressed
I
with
think
all
that
of
means you
you.
guys are invited back. Unless you're leaving and
Hopefully.
graduating. That's good. Well, that's good. Thank you guys for coming up. We're going to try and do more of these Friday afternoon shows whenever possible. It seems like we've got a field trip every week or so. When you guys come back from Castleberry, come back and talk with us again, perhaps, so we can have you on here.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. Everybody have a great weekend. And whenever we say goodbye here on the show, what do we always say on the news? Thanks for watching, everybody, and
Don't
Don't forget to storm!